I've been testing a tool that I find absolutely incredible. Actually, these clips were generated with an artificial intelligence tool that helps you identify the best moments of your videos based on your own criteria, allows you to generate personalized animations, and also provides captions that look like they were made by a professional when in reality it's a system you already have created. And this topic obsesses me because I see too many teams that put in a lot of effort to create content that they launch, it had some results, and then it simply died, when in reality, if they had a system, they would see that a long piece of content can be turned into multiple short-form clips, which you can then use on other channels. And additionally, you can utilize that long-form content to produce another long-form piece, such as a newsletter, essentially a blog article. And it also enables you to generate, for instance, visual images and brief posts, which you can then, for example, publish on LinkedIn or use as a carousel. So that's the exact system that I personally utilize within my growth system, where I record my podcast, which usually has a format of approximately 40 to 60 minutes. From that, I then extract those very clips, the publications, the visuals, and the newsletter that I consistently share with my audience. So, a single piece of content provides me with so much more, and additionally, it allows me to reinforce that particular topic, because when your audience sees you just once, it's simply not enough. You really need to repeat the information from various different angles so that the message truly begins to resonate and stick. So, I'm going to show you exactly how you can achieve all of this using Mosaic, and the very best part of it all is that this approach will enable you to accomplish 3 specific key things. First, reaching new audiences on various channels. Without content repurposing, you'd have kept it for your primary audience. Second, improving your SEO for more specific searches. This applies whether you post on LinkedIn, YouTube Shorts, or Instagram, which now also index on Google. And additionally, this content can be cited by LLMs. And lastly, it will give your content a much longer lifespan. It won't be a one-shot deal anymore, producing a lot of information just to launch it once, but it will provide you with a system that lets you maximize the possibilities of reaching more people. The very first thing you'll do is go to Mosaic.
This is what a Mosaic flow looks like once it's ready, and I'll leave a link in the description for you to enter. So, once you're in Mosaic, you'll be able to generate notes, much like an automation in tools such as Zapier, Make, or N8N. So, if you've used those before, it has a very similar logic. The main difference is that here you can visually see the results of the audiovisual elements you're inputting, and they have pre-built nodes that have already solved a lot of problems for us. For example, in this video, what I'm doing is I gave it an input directly from a YouTube link, that is, in this case, and from there I had it generate some clips, and from those clips I create divisions. So I put some clips right away into cinematic captions in the vertical format, and others I sent directly to motion graphics, okay? So if you notice, here I had a video that was in a horizontal format, and I also had a video that was in a vertical format. That's why one is vertical and the other is horizontal, and they look all mixed together. But really, what one should do is have a system. For example, if you're extracting only horizontal videos, you should have a node that cuts those horizontal videos and generates the clips for you, which we'll discuss later. And from here, what I'm generating are motion graphics. This is one of the best nodes, which animates your videos and automatically adds, based on the video's content, animations that look professionally made. Let's see an example here.
I would just delete them, then I would format them, I would put all the images on them, and I would sell them to the children from school.
It's incredible because according to what the video is showing, this agent who already possesses a set of instructions and some prior training, he identifies the optimal moments, and then look, he generates those illustrations. And in fact, you can actually see how he's creating them. So that strikes me as completely different from other tools I've experimented with. And for example, the last generation node I have here is for cinematic captions, which I placed on top of the motions, meaning the animated elements. This is generating the cinematic captions for this video. Finally, I added music, right? Let's see here. You click play here.
I believe we've doubled or even tripled the year. There's a lot of fraud, many players out there. All of the project management aspects, we take care of them. It's based on a time system or
garniture. And then it generates the results for you, and here you send it to its destination. So what is the destination? If you've integrated your platforms into the tool, which you can modify and edit here, you'll be able to upload, for example, videos to YouTube, to LinkedIn, to Instagram, to Twitter, to Facebook. So it's a content system. What happens? Honestly, unless you've already got the process really well oiled, I think it's better to review it first and choose the best captions. Then keep refining the system until it's ready to run completely on its own. There.
Now, we're going to create a mosaic from scratch. So I'm going to click here on Craft Mosaic, and you'll see it will allow me to. You can start with AI generated content, for example, and that would invite you to enter a prompt so you can get started with the video, which I think is one of the incredible things about this. But in this case, no, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about the system, and in my system, what I think is, okay, I've already generated a video, right? It has to come from either YouTube or a link. Yes, it can be from YouTube or directly from a video I recorded and have on my computer. And from here, we're going to generate edits. So the first thing you need to do is add an input. An input will be the AI generated video, your video, or another resource you have. And here, you'll add the nodes that will edit it. All this you see here, from captions with emojis or cinematic captions, voiceover, all these are elements that will modify the original video. This is super important because if it doesn't have a logical order, for example, if you add captions before cutting the video, you'll generate them on a horizontal version when you actually wanted the vertical video, and they'll be cut off. So, you need to have the system in your head. For example, one of the first things you can do is decide right away if you want to cut it, or if you'd rather find the clips first. Let's do it that way. I think it makes more sense. Let's first locate the clips, shall we? Because here, what we're essentially going to instruct it to do is find the very best clips. I have a specific prompt for that, which I'll also include in the resources, which is this one I'm showing you right here, okay? I put everything in English because it usually works better, so all of this is native and you have all of the instructions in English. You can do them in Spanish in ChatGPT and ask it to translate them. So, what I'm telling you here is to analyze the transcript and then identify the top X viral moments or those sections that contain the most interesting clips. Each segment should have a clear start and end point, a virality score, and the specific type of hook it possesses. And finally, to search for the moments that are most relevant for generating those clips. Here, you can tell it how many more clips maximum you want. I'm going to set it to 15 here, and I won't give it a duration target. I'll just leave it like that. There, we've already configured our first clip node. And from here, what we can do now, for example, is tell it to reframe, right? To a specific size. So we click on this node. We can set it to square mode or to different elements. For example, this is the typical format we see on TikTok, Instagram, etc. So we'll choose this one, but we could also choose horizontal formats, which would allow us, for instance, to continue in espirito, if the initial format is horizontal, to continue with a horizontal line and then a vertical one. So we've already got our clips. We turn them into vertical videos, and now it would really be worth considering adding B-rolls, captions, and so on. If you notice, anything that's audiovisual is always better if you add it. Not true. Anything visual, it's better to add it first, right? Why? Because if you're adding captions later, it's better to ensure the visuals have already appeared and don't overlap with the captions otherwise. So for example, something I'm going to do, which I've really liked, is what's called motion graphics, because they are contextualized animations. What it's asking you to do here is to implement a specific motion graphic style, and for this, they provide you with two excellent suggestions. The box style, for example, is quite effective and visually appealing. Alternatively, there's the option of using charts and diagrams, which also allows you to dynamically animate all the statistical information that is presented and discussed within the video. I'm going to select the box style graphics option for the particular example that we're going to be working on right now, and from here, we're going to add, for instance, some music, which I think is a pretty good idea. So we're going to apply AI music, and we'll just leave the genre setting on auto detect. Here, for example, you can choose the specific type of music you'd like. I'm going to set it to cinematic for tutorials, and then we'll see what happens, and that's all. So let's go ahead and run our node. The interesting thing is that you can run it completely, or you can go through it one by one, viewing and adjusting the caps, not the captions, but the actual elements of your content. So if you didn't like how it generated the clips, you can simply change the prompt for those clips and then proceed similarly with each one. Alright, to test the workflow, we're going to paste the link to one of my YouTube videos from my podcast, and I just told it to import from YouTube. What I really love is that you can upload 55-minute videos, and this platform is capable of processing all that information. Many other platforms have limits, so I think that's a huge win. So we're going to wait for it to load, and once it loads, we'll see how we activate the next nodes.
Alright, after just 1 minute, we now have the video input available. Remember this, if you have this process automated, for example, to extract data every time a new video is generated through an automated system, you won't even have to wait at all. And here, you see, I can tell it to run this node to validate them one by one, or to run all the nodes from here to the end. So I'm going to click here, Y. So it generates the entire flow and we can see the results. So here we are seeing that it's already processing it, and it proceeds this way with every single step, each one requiring the completion of the previous step before it can advance to the next. For instance, we can't extract any clips if we haven't first acquired the main video footage, and similarly, we can't begin to edit or cut it if we don't have those specific short video segments, you know, the ones we intend to resize or reformat. And I'm going to be really honest with you, depending on the overall length of your video and how complex the content is, on how long the individual clips are, this can take more or less time to complete. For example, here we can see that the clips feature has already run, as well as the reframe, which is what makes the videos vertical. And if we click, something I truly love about this tool is that you can even add various elements, for instance, text, and you can also add, look, text, and then you can edit it, changing its elements, the font size, and so on. So essentially, it transforms into a full-fledged editor for you. These platform functions as both an editor and an artificial intelligence agent that can do things for you, completing entire tasks from start to finish. That's what I find to be absolutely insane. In fact, you can even generate your own images right here with Gemini or with whatever model is available at that moment. And you can even generate motion graphics for very specific moments. And basically, you can just describe what you want to appear, and in that way, it will then generate the animation. So what happens here? You're going to have, for example, reframe up to this point, and then here come the motion graphics. You'll see that, for instance, it has generated for me, in this particular case, 6 motion graphics. So let's take a look at the first one.
If I'm even interested in establishing a relationship.
I understand.
I liked it a lot because people weren't pushy, and it was like...
What you're seeing right now, all these elements were generated by artificial intelligence. And the crazy thing is that actually the texts, the animations, etc., are very contextual, and they're really very good. I mean, the quality is extremely high.
We launched a decentralized event that featured over 157 locations, and we're more than
Even if you were to add your brand's specific colors, because I used box as a point of reference here, if you were to edit one of your own videos, for example, with a professional, and then you give them the examples that will animate everything for you in a truly professional manner.
from 11,000 people, many times simultaneously, over several days in various regions, even of the country.
So here you're already seeing the potential this has, and for example, I'm already sending all the videos to have cinematic music added. So something very interesting that's going to happen here is, for example, when you have a node that has already run completely, you will always have the intermediate step with the final result. What do I mean? For example, in Reframe, you will be able to download all these assets and even edit them in a personalized way. I mean, no, you don't have to do everything with this tool, but it truly has all the potential to become a complete end-to-end solution. So you've already seen the general potential that this tool offers. Now, what else can you accomplish? And this is where I want to open your mind up a little bit. First, you now have a new feature that is called chat, and you can specifically upload a video and talk to this agent to edit a video with references, and you can ask it different things as if it were your own editing assistant. Another thing I find very cool is the topic of automations. If, for example, right now I have an automation for YouTube clips, what does this mean? It's an integer harness. Basically, every time a YouTube clip is uploaded, it analyzes it for me, meaning I have that link and I can run it in the automations. And you can also, if you have connected the platforms you use, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, you can even approve videos, right? You can do a manual review, and that way you can tell it, okay, this one is ready to publish, this, and that way they auto-publish, so you have a system. And if you consider this with what we have already managed to create, for example, this is the very last one that we were working on. Now, with all of this that we currently possess, we are also getting some really good visuals, aren't we? At different moments in the videos. And even this can serve as a resource for content pieces or as ideas for specific content, you know? So, you see, not in every case, but for example, here this gives you ideas on how to make animations or visuals to get an idea across. So this wouldn't just be useful for the video itself, but also as a great idea for a carousel post. So I truly hope this video has been helpful to you. You can then export, as I've shown you here, all the renders. And from this point, you can also directly transfer it to Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Adobe Premiere, or simply as an MP4 to upload it straight to your social media platforms. So if you are looking for a tool and have seen others like Opus Clip, etc., I think this is a really great alternative that thinks much more systemically and less simply as a one-shot and just a bunch of clips. So go ahead and try it out and let me know what you think.